Fivio Foreign, a guy we talked about very recently when we reviewed Donda 2 and talked about a track he was on with Kanye that also
Mhm.
appears on this. And
City of
I,
Gods.
I'm interested to see. I'm interested to hear if you really liked this album, where it kind of fell for you, because I mean, you get a lot of the classic drill sound all throughout. I actually think it becomes a little bit like redundant at points. Some of the production feels very samey, especially in the second half of the
Mm.
album. But there's also, I think, some really solid songs on here, and so, but there's a lot of features, and so I'm
Mhm.
wondering where this fell for you. Were you impressed?
Yeah, I mean, just overall, 17 tracks. That is a lot, no matter how you slice it. Still under an hour, though. I really like this album from 504 and the long awaited debut album from 5 32 years old, but this is the official debut. Just because this album feels like 5 delivering on the promise people put on him, 2019, 2020 time when Big Drip became so huge and 5 was kind of tabbed as the next mainstream rapper to succeed out of Brooklyn drill following Pop Smoke. And we talked about him before Donda, of course, with that debut mixtape, 800 BC, where again, the talent was evident. And I thought the little TJ track, Ambition, I was like, you can clearly hear the 5 charm, the charisma, the energy from him, but still existing in that Brooklyn drill space. Waiting for this album, we got Donda 1 and 504's feature on Off the Grid. An amazing verse, the best verse of his career to that point, which kind of, I think, even put more pressure on this debut album because the expectations got raised once again. And we kind of been waiting for this because no one actually filled the New York King of New York rapper hole that Pop Smoke left because Pop Smoke actually maintained the crown in 2020 with his huge posthumous album and all those amazing tracks on it. No one actually took the mantle if you really think about what's been happening, right? Cardi B now has more kids than albums. Nicki, Rocky, Joey, they're not really doing too much, right? It's been right there for someone to follow in Pop's footsteps. And I don't think Value Forms is as good as Pop Smoke, obviously. But I think finally someone has really like jumped up and grabbed that mantle in terms of leading Brooklyn drill forward because like you said there's still a lot of Brooklyn drill stuff on here. Axel Beats, of course, the godfather of BK drill beats, is here, but I just think like he continued what we heard on Off the Grid lyrically with a lot of his verses on this. So even though it's a bloated record, I still was really pleased with it, and more than anything else, just really happy to hear Fivio kind of deliver on the promise and the hype after a few years.
Yeah, excuse me. Um, I really think that there's a lot to like on here. Especially a couple of the tracks in the middle, I really liked. And there's one at the top, "Through the Fire," which is just, I think,
Mm,
absolute flames and
Oregon.
just yeah, just a ton of energy there. And he also, I think, has some really choice production moments. Sampling some classic songs, but in a way that I think he makes it his own. That I think there's enough on this for me to be, impressed with this. Again, you said 17 tracks, still under an hour, but it's a little bloated, and a couple of these just feel samey to me by the end. But overall, I think that he delivers more often than not. And
Mm.
if you were waiting for this and just kind of waiting to see if he was actually gonna, be able to bring it like people thought he could, I think he proved
Yeah.
everybody that he can.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you mentioned the sample things, sample drill as like a styling within drill got like really big over the past like year plus at this point, or year, I'd say, right? Think of like CJ with Whoopty, probably most egregiously. Sleepy Hollow's Deep End Freestyle becomes a TikTok hit, not because of the song, but because of the sample in it, right? This time, we get something super obvious, sampling Destiny's Child, Say My Name, in the song What's My Name. I think even more inspired, sampling Ellie Goulding's Lights on World Watching.
Yeah, that
Nice
was
feature from Little TJ on there. So overall, I still think both those songs are good and I think kind of worthy because the sample drill movement seems to kind of be keeping drill music moving forward and giving it some more momentum. And Ellie Goulding in particular, that's just a nice cut. That's a
Oh,
nice drop in there. Like that was an inspired choice.
yeah, when the song starts and you hear the like, I don't even know what those are,
The
like synths
twinkle.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
the twinkle exactly. You're just like, was this what I think it is? And then like when I confirmed it, and then you hear
Yeah.
her at the end of the song, you're just like, oh damn, what a moment! That was amazing. Yeah, I think you mentioned the Destiny's Child on "What's My Name." You
Mhm.
he's actually just like biting a Neo song with Neo, like which is just like
Yep. That's the other
interesting
one.
choice. But good look for Neo, right? Like I haven't really don't feel like we really
He
hear
could
from him a
use the
lot.
looks, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Dave, what other tracks really stood out to you on this?
Yeah, so you mentioned "Through the Fire." I think between the organ and the background choir on that, Kanye made "Through the Wire," this is "Through the Fire." Obviously, putting lofty expectations on your own song there, but I think it's an awesome song. I love the
Mhm.
verses. I just love how the organ and the choir fit in with uh, Fivio there, and also Quavo sounds awesome on that song as well as the subsequent song "Magic City." You know,
Yeah.
Quavo, the auto tune I think is a great fit on "Through the Fire," and then on "Magic City." Him and Fivio just make a strip club banger. It sounds so good, but Quavo sounds so full of life and so inspired, which is often a flip of the coin these days on guest spots in particular. So I was really happy to hear that. Quavo did make a lot of songs with Pop Smoke uh, in life, and then on the posthumous albums too. So he has a bit of a connection to this kind of music. But I was still happy to hear like really good Quavo on those two tracks.
Yeah, no, I actually really was impressed, and I was like, "Is this really Quavo?" I feel like we haven't heard Quavo in this way in quite a while. Um, a couple that I liked later on, back to back, "Confidence" with ASAP Rocky and "Slime
Mhm.
Them" featuring Lil Yachty. I thought that was a great middle of the album. Rocky continues to just drop in and give great features, and "Slime Them" is just like super catchy, and I
Yeah.
just thought that was a great hook.
Yeah, so confidence with Rocky, hearing Rocky do more of a drill flow, that's something obviously he does. Cool. Again, just super, super hopeful for an ASAP Rocky album. The last one was in 2018. It's been so long. I just hope he has one in him before he gives birth Rihanna gives birth. Then Slime Them, like you said, catchy, dark ass drill subject matter,
Mhm.
bar for bar with Yachty. Yachty fucking brings it on this track. It's
Yeah.
so hard.
What'd you think of the a couple tracks later, "Changed on Me" featuring Vori and Polo G? I mean, I feel like Fivio and Polo G as this like next wave of like who's gonna be like
Mhm.
the big rapper comes up. Polo G and Fivio have kind of been in the discussion, so hearing
Yeah,
them together is cool.
yeah, for sure. Polo's been big. Um, yeah, of course, had the leaked song "Pop" that I love. This doesn't quite reach that level, but more of the I think Kanye quote unquote executive produced this album Bible. Hearing Vori on this after we heard Vori all over Donda kind of seems in sync there. Um, right after that, I liked Left Side with Blueface just because that was Fabio clearly doing his most melodic, most sing-songy stuff. Not something he's done too much, but I actually thought it sounded pretty good, and it made sense having Blueface on a song where you're talking about your Crip affiliation. So everything seemed pretty tactical there.
Yeah, definitely. Any other thoughts on this album? I mean, I think we liked it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we named a bunch of tracks there.
Yeah.
Just overall, like I said, I'm just happy to hear Fabio deliver on the promise, deliver on the hype, just because it really was no sure thing. And just hoping that we can see this momentum in like near hip hop continue. Just because we've been talking to people as they come up, Chef G, Busy Banks, etc. But like no one's really been able to like burst through. And Fabio became mainstream almost immediately with Big Drip, his XXL last year, all that. But really just really curious to see what's next for him because he's getting a lot of big features from
Yeah.
artists hot from New York. So he's clearly becoming a rap star right before our eyes. And also he's kind of being respected in the community, as it were, of course, meeting with Mayor Eric Adams to discuss the effects of drill music on the community. So he's actually he told the New York Times this, he's taking like a leadership position in terms of moving the scene forward. It's cool to see him have a more mature outlook on that. But then again, he's older than you expect from someone with a debut album coming out. But yeah, overall, two thumbs up for Fivio.
check out the Fivio album and also check out our Nostalgia Best of 2022 playlist.